The phone call lasted less than a minute. On the other end, a woman's voice trembled so badly it almost sounded underwater. She kept apologizing, over and over again, but she never explained for what. In the background, there was wind, car, dorsch, someone pacing, and then suddenly, silence. Not the silence of a disconnected call, the kind of silence where someone has stepped into the room and nobody dares to breathe anymore. A few days later, internet strangers would replay that audio frame by frame like it was evidence from a horror movie. They would zoom into blurry bodycam footage, compare tattoos, map road signs, and dissect every nervous smile. And somehow, before federal investigators officially solved it, thousands of strangers sitting behind glowing screens would begin uncovering a terrifying truth hiding in plain sight. The disturbing part wasn't just that a young woman vanished. It was how many people had unknowingly watched it happen in real time. Gabby Petito looked like the kind of person social media was built for. Bright smile, sunburned cheeks, oversized hoodies, handwritten journals, tiny coffee shops, dusty mountain roads. Her videos felt warm and weightless, like someone bottling freedom and posting it online for everyone else to envy. Together with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, she traveled across the country inside a cramped white van, documenting what looked like the perfect young adventure. Two strangers online, they were aspirational. Two people escaping normal life. Two people in love. But perfection online has a strange way of cracking at the edges when you stare long enough. Some followers noticed Gabby smiling less in newer clips. Others pointed out how often Brian interrupted her when she spoke. There were moments where her energy seemed to vanish completely the second he entered the frame. Tiny things, easy to dismiss individually, but together they created a feeling people couldn't explain. Like watching a movie with a soundtrack suddenly changes before anything bad has happened yet. You don't know why, but your stomach tightens anyway. As the trip continued, Gabby's posts became inconsistent. Photos would appear hours late. Captions sounded rushed. Videos that were once carefully edited suddenly stopped altogether. Friends later said her messages felt strange too, almost like someone trying very hard to sound normal while panicking beneath the surface. And then came the bodycam footage. Police officers in Utah responded after witnesses reported a couple fighting near the van. When the footage was released, millions watched Gabby standing outside the vehicle crying uncontrollably, while Brian calmly joked with officers beside her. That contrast disturbed people immediately. Gabby looked terrified, apologizing constantly, blaming herself for everything. Brian looked relaxed, smiling, casual. At one point he even laughed. Online, viewers replayed the footage obsessively, analyzing every expression like detectives trying to solve a puzzle hidden between sentences. The internet split almost instantly. Some people believed the situation was just a toxic relationship spiraling under stress. Others felt something darker was unfolding behind Gabby's nervous laughter and frantic apologies. Reddit threads exploded overnight. Users enhanced audio, clips, compared timelines, and searched satellite maps of campsites the couple had visited. Amateur investigators worked around the clock, fueled by one horrifying thought. What if Gabby was already in serious danger while everyone was still debating whether anything was wrong? Then Gabby's family stopped hearing from her consistently. The texts became shorter, stranger. One message didn't even sound like her at all. Her mother later admitted there was something cold about it, something emotionally absent, like someone imitating Gabby without understanding how she normally spoke. Around the same time, Brian quietly returned home to Florida. Alone, he arrived driving Gabby's van, but Gabby herself was nowhere to be found. That detail changed everything. A fiancé returning home without the person he supposedly loved should have triggered immediate answers. Instead, Brian said nothing. He refused interviews, refused questions. His family remained silent behind closed doors while reporters crowded outside their home day and night. The silence became unbearable because it didn't feel confused. It felt calculated. Meanwhile, online investigators became relentless. Reddit users built massive timelines connecting gas station sightings, witness statements, and travel records. TikTok creators analyzed footage frame by frame. One woman reviewing her vacation vlog accidentally captured Gabby's van parked deep inside Wyoming wilderness footage. That accidental clip would become one of the most important discoveries in the entire case. Strangers online found it before investigators publicly confirmed anything. And suddenly, the search area narrowed toward a terrifying possibility. As authorities searched Wyoming's enormous wilderness, public fascination transformed into obsession. Everyone wanted to know where Gabby was. But beneath that question was another one. People whispered more quietly. Why wasn't Brian searching for her too? He stayed hidden while Gabby's parents begged for answers on national television. Every day that passed made the silence feel less human. Then investigators discovered human remains near the area where the van had been spotted. News helicopters hovered above endless stretches of open land while people online refreshed their screens waiting for confirmation. For a brief moment, there was still hope it might not be her. Maybe she had escaped. Maybe she was hiding. Maybe the entire country had misunderstood something terrible. But hope collapsed quickly. The remains were identified as Gabby Petito, and suddenly, the mystery became something colder than disappearance. It became a homicide investigation. The internet reacted like a collective punch to the chest. Millions had followed her journey in real time, watching smiling videos, without realizing they were witnessing someone slowly disappearing emotionally before vanishing physically. Old clips became unbearable to watch. Every awkward pause looked sinister now. Every forced smile felt tragic. People began revisiting the Bodycam footage with entirely different eyes. Just as pressure intensified around him, Brian disappeared from his family home entirely. The man at the center of a nationwide homicide investigation was suddenly gone. Some believed he was hiding with help. Others thought he might already be dead. Law enforcement launched a massive manhunt through swamps and wilderness areas while online communities monitored police scanners, flight patterns, and live streams obsessively. It no longer felt like a normal criminal case. It felt like the entire country was trapped inside an unfolding psychological thriller with no ending yet. It seemed 7 days stretched into weeks. The search teams dragged through flooded terrain filled with snakes, insects, and waist-deep mud searching for any sign of Brian Laundrie. Reporters stood outside nature reserves broadcasting updates that often led nowhere. But online communities kept digging into the past. And that's when people began uncovering how deeply manipulative Brian may have been, long before the road trip ever began. Former friends described subtle, controlling behavior, moments where Gabby seemed emotionally drained around him, tiny arguments that escalated unpredictably, nothing dramatic enough individually to trigger alarms, but together, they painted the portrait of someone who needed control constantly. Experts later pointed out how common that pattern is in abusive relationships, not constant visible violence, but slow emotional erosion until the victim begins apologizing for their own fear. Suddenly, the bodycam footage looked even more chilling. Gabby wasn't just upset. She looked conditioned to believe everything was her fault. Then came the twist nobody expected. Investigators discovered Brian's notebook near skeletal remains, deep inside the Florida reserve where he disappeared, waterlogged, partially destroyed, but still readable in places. At first, rumors spread online faster than facts. Some claimed it contained a confession. Others insisted it was fake. But when details emerged, the truth felt even more disturbing than speculation. Inside the notebook, Brian admitted Gabby was dead, but his explanation sounded less like remorse and more like someone desperately rewriting reality. He claimed Gabby had been injured, claimed he ended her suffering, claimed what happened was an act of mercy. Yet nothing about the evidence matched the softness of his words. Investigators had already concluded Gabby died from strangulation. Not accident, not mercy, strangulation, an intensely personal act requiring prolonged force. Reading his version beside the medical findings felt nauseating, like watching someone attempt to edit horror into romance. The realization hit people hard. While millions searched desperately for Gabby, Brian had likely already known the truth the entire time. He drove home in her van, slept in his own bed, ate dinner with family, and remained silent while her parents begged publicly for help finding their daughter. That silence became one of the most haunting parts of the entire story. Online communities that once chased theories now sat with something heavier: guilt. Many people remembered seeing Gabby's content during the trip and sensing something felt wrong, but dismissing it because social media trains people to ignore discomfort if the photos still look beautiful enough. The internet had watched fragments of emotional abuse unfold publicly without fully recognizing it until it was too late. And somehow, random strangers online ended up piecing together critical clues faster than the system designed to protect her. In the end, investigators concluded Brian Laundrie murdered Gabby Petito during their cross-country trip before fleeing back to Florida alone. Facing mounting pressure and nationwide scrutiny, he disappeared into the reserve and eventually died by suicide. His notebook confession closed the case legally. But emotionally, nothing ever really closed at all. Because the most chilling part of Gabby's story wasn't only the murder, it was the eerie trail left behind before it happened. The nervous laughter in police footage, the strained smiles in travel videos, the apologetic phone call, the strange texts, the way thousands of strangers instinctively felt fear long before the truth officially surfaced. It was like the internet collectively sensed someone screaming beneath the surface of a carefully filtered life. But nobody could reach her in time, and somewhere deep in endless archived footage online, Gabby is still smiling at the camera. Moments before everything went dark. Sometimes the scariest evidence isn't hidden at all. It's the thing everyone saw and failed to understand.